Hi, you guys. Kelly coming to you, and I'm coming to you today to tell you my why I've decided to pursue a successful career on the internet and making money online. Um, as a young girl, I always dreamed of having my own business. Always doing well, being well off financially and everything. I remember as when I was like 14 or 15, or maybe younger, probably younger than that. I saw this picture of a mansion inside the home section. The Sunday paper, they have listings, multiple listings of homes, and that's usually the day where they show mansions. And I picked out this mansion and I showed my mom, I'm gonna buy you this mansion one day. Now, I know that someone could say, well, that's just a young person's dream, but I really believe that I could do that. It was really no doubt in my mind that I could make that happen. Throughout, in between then and now, of course, life happened and things happen. And fast forward to today. Today I work for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Now, granted, it's a stable job, I guess you could say, good benefits, the things they say about a county job. Growing up, I always heard, oh, get a county job and you're set for life. No need to look anywhere else. And to be very honest, I ran from a county job for many years because of that fear of being stuck there, of not being able to get out. Growing up, I'm going to share something really personal, and I'm going to say it, but it's kind of difficult for me to admit on camera. I come from the times of my mom was a person. What goes on in my house stays in my house, and it's nobody's business what goes on. But my mom, she was born with congenital glaucoma in both eyes. So she really couldn't hold a full-time job. She did work. She did defy the odds. She worked, got a job, sometimes worked two and three jobs. And she also got her license. They told her that she would never be able to drive. As a matter of fact, when she was a young girl, the doctors told her, by the age of 21, she would be completely blind. And she said she looked at the doctor and told him, "You're a lie." And he was right. She proved him to be right. But back to my story a little bit. She had the glaucoma, and like I said, she could not work a full time job because if she worked a full time job, well, her government supplement would be cut off or cut in half or whatever the case may be. But she had kids and she was a single parent, so she had to support her kids the best way she could. So she got on public assistance. And that's something that I never thought that I would admit on camera, but it is my story. So anyway, public assistance, they tell you what you can do with the money pretty much, what you're supposed to do with it, how much we're giving you. You can't get any more than this. If you, so many barriers, so many strongholds, it's not, I know the media portrays a public assistance person as one way, but that's not always the case. Yes, we were on it, but we were not the family that the media portrays as someone being, as a family being on public assistance. But I always had this thing of, I didn't want a county job. And I never really put two and two together, honestly, until maybe about 2 months ago. And in my mind, having a county job is still like being on welfare, just at a higher level. I get paid more and I get benefits instead of getting a check and food stamps. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. But there's still bondage in that county job. I can't, if I work, um, if I have a part-time job or something on the side, I'm supposed to report it to them. If I have that job, I'm not supposed to work more than 20 hours a week because it's a county job. If there's an emergency, you need to come in. Forget your family. You got to come in to work because you're here to serve the public. Now, I don't work. I'm not a sworn member of the department. I'm a professional staff. I'm a secretary. But that's still the thing because we may need you to cover the phones. We may need you to go and volunteer and such and such. It's just the thing of bondage. They just kind of have you in these grips. So that's one of my whys of why I've decided to pursue an online career because I want to be away from that bondage. It's like I've been in bondage. I was in bondage when I was younger. Now I'm in bondage as an adult. And that's just not the way that I choose to live. Now, I've always, life has thrown many obstacles my way. I know I'm no different from any other person, but I've always bounced back, and I've always had that faith. And I know that faith was given to me by my mother. Um, you know, just have faith, believe, believe in yourself, and you can make it happen. Now, any other person may say, oh, Kelly, you have a great job. Why are you trying to do anything else? Because as a kid, I had a dream that I will be well off one day. Working for the county is not going to get me there. I'm not going to be well off. It's just not going to happen. You know, I have more in me. I have people to reach, and I can't reach them sitting in a cubicle behind a desk 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. I get off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that consumes my day pretty much. I go to the gym. I um, come home when I do my online work, and it just consumes my full-time job, consumes all of my life. I'm very thankful and I'm grateful for my full-time job. Don't get me wrong, it came along at a great time in my life. Although I did run from it for a while, it came along at the time when my mom had just passed away. I mean, I was literally at my mom's viewing her body when they called and told me I passed my background check for my job. And I know it came along at a perfect time, because that was a time in my life where I just needed some straight focus and discipline and stability. Well, I'm better now. I'm healed. So I know now is the time to start pursuing my dreams again. It's like my job came along at a time, all things that we go that we're in life, we may not like them, but it's good for us at the time. We just have to learn it's not always good for us forever, you know? So that's one of my many whys on why I chose to make money online. I won't be in bondage anymore. I'll be free. I'll be able to volunteer. I'll be able to travel the world. There's just so many things that I'll be able to do. It'll provide me the resource to be able to do these things. And it also, as you probably heard me mention, my mom, she did pass away six years ago. And I won't be able to buy her that house. But what I will be able to do is I'll be able to help so many other single mothers buy homes for their families. My mom walked around with this charm for Habitat for Humanity on her key ring. And I'm looking for my keys, but I actually walk around, I have it on my keychain today. So, and I take that as, that's a responsibility that I have. I have to do this. I have to be able to give money to mothers or dads or families, whole families, so kids can have a nice place to live. I always had a nice place to live. We always had a nice place to live. But I know there are so many families who don't have that. There are so many mothers who want to provide for their kids, and they're not able to do that. So me doing this will put me in the position to really do more than I could have just done for my mother, one person. I can touch lives through this. I will touch lives through this. So that's my why today. That's why I'm choosing a career to make money online. And that's my story. That's part of my story. Okay. If you want to team with me, click on the link below and get started today. You can also add me on Facebook. That link is there as well. Okay, I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.